President Trump's nominee for the Supreme Court, Brett Kavanaugh, is back on the Hill today, making the rounds for more meetings with Republican lawmakers. On the schedule today, Senators Orrin Hatch and Lindsey Graham. This comes after Tuesday's meetings with Vice President Mike Pence, Senator Mitch McConnell, and former Senator John Kyle, who has been tasked with getting Kavanaugh through this nomination process. But here's the thing. The meetings, they are just getting started. All eyes are on the moderate Republicans who seem comfortable with Kavanaugh's nomination, but still want one-on-one sit-downs and guarantees that Trump's pick will be fully vetted. Take a listen.
I'm going to be asking for my own sit-down with him. I've never met him. So I'm anxious to meet him and to be able to visit with him one-on-one.
I know that he is held in high regard by many attorneys and judges whom I know, but obviously he needs to go through the full vetting process.
And across the aisle, Democrats, no surprise, they are vowing to put up a fight.
We will have a hearing, and they do not control every vote on the Republican side. We saw that with the Affordable Care Act. They don't control every vote.
If his writings and if his statements indicate he's going to continue the same very narrow political view, and that the White House thinks he's going to carry out a White House agenda, I don't know how anybody could vote for him.
This is time for every single one of us to get up and fight for our country that we love.
Back with me to discuss, Robert Costa, Mark Thompson, and Ron Insana. Mark, to you first. No surprise, Democrats are vowing to fight against Kavanaugh's nomination. Why does it make sense? When you think about it, elections matter. President Trump won. If they're really going to put their fight into something, put it towards the midterms and something they can impact more. Trump doesn't need their votes.
Well, it's a both and rather than either or. The midterms, and I've been saying to people on the radio, the best way for an individual to fight this is to vote in the midterms. But in terms of Democrats in the Senate, elections obviously don't matter because they didn't matter when Barack Obama was president, and Mitch McConnell would not have a hearing on Merrick Garland. So they absolutely do not matter.
But Mark, here's the thing. What Mitch McConnell did may have been sleazy, may have been unethical.
Evil.
He played the may have been evil, but he played the game and he won the game. And now Trump's got 2 Supreme Court justices in place.
So why can't we play the game? I mean, that's really so that is figure out a way to block it. Figure out a way procedurally to hold it until after the midterm.
But that's the thing.
And first of all, the Democrats are not playing a game. They have no strategy. They have no message. They have no messenger. They have been totally ineffectual on a wide variety of fronts.
That's not fair to say we have no message, no messenger. See, this is not a national election. Candidates are running individually in congressional districts, which are not covered daily on television. We don't hear the message, but the message is working in the individual districts. That's why we're probably going to win the midterms, and there'll be a blue wave. So when you're up against a reality show, Dunce pushing his message, and we don't have a counterpart.
Reality show Dunce?
Yeah,
you
Trump.
Need one.
Well, but. Nobody's running for president right now.
No, I understand that.
But do you, Robert Costa, do you think there is a real Democratic message? I mean, this week I read the Rolling Stone article that Nancy Pelosi did where she called Tim Ryan and Seth Moulton inconsequential. When I look at 2 moderate Democrats, a vet, and a blue-collar guy who represents Youngstown, Ohio, I would kind of think they'd all be on the same page. And when you've got Democrats eating their own message, you kind of think that blue wave might go flat.
I don't think Congressman Moulton and Congressman Ryan are inconsequential. I'm following them as possible long shot 2020 presidential contenders based on my conversations with some moderate mainstream Democratic donors. When you look at the Democrats right now at the Supreme Court, they know they're in a tough position, but they also look at history and they say past Supreme Court nominee Robert Bork, Justice Clarence Thomas, fireworks can happen, and they expect Judge Kavanaugh to be a lot like Justice Gorsuch in his confirmation hearing, very robotic, prepared, comes out of the conservative legal community. They even went to the same high school here in Washington. But they do think that with the questions over Judge Kavanaugh's time with the special counsel in the 1990s, Judge Kavanaugh's time in the Bush White House in the 2000s, that those could really bring up some issues, some documents that could rattle the whole process. You never know with the Supreme Court.
Okay, in 2010, let's go back to Mitch McConnell.
Okay.
He questioned Justice Kagan's impartiality because of her work as a White House aide during the Clinton administration. We know that Kavanaugh was a White House aide for Bush. Mark, you say the Democrats need to play the kind of game Mitch McConnell does.
Absolutely.
So what are they going to do with that?
Well, you know, one way I think to really set him up, and McConnell and all the Republicans, is to ask one question during the hearings. Brett Kavanaugh, will you recuse yourself if any of the cases come to the Supreme Court regarding the investigations into Donald Trump? That's it.
Question.
That's the end of it. If he says he hedges on it, if he says no, you have another walking contradiction, just like Mitch McConnell did with Obama. He has said that a president should not be put under any type of investigation, unless, of course, you're President Clinton.
Oh, well and good, but unless Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins go south on this vote, he wins.
But the country loses, though.
Oh, I'm not arguing that point. I'm saying there's no way for the Democrats to block this if Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins stay with the Republican majority.
I'm still holding out hope for anything procedural that can delay
what would that
this
be with a 51?
Well, I don't know yet. That's what I'm saying. I'm still holding it. I've been on the phone trying to talk to people to help try to figure it out. And it may not be anything. But I think we have a duty. That's one play we can make to figure out whether there's anything procedural to hold this up in the way Mitch McConnell says it's an election year. We shouldn't be doing this. This is an election year. We shouldn't be doing it.
Okay, then, Robert, does this put red state Democrats in a quagmire that if they vote against him, they lose centrists, and if they back it, they lose the left?
That is the dilemma they face. And to take up the gentleman's point, let's say some Democratic senators or some Democratic activists say, let's not show up. Let's not have Democratic senators show up, not have a quorum in the Senate. They could perhaps delay the process for a time, but there is a political calculation there. As much as that would rouse the Democratic base in some respects, it would also maybe send a different message to more moderate independent voters in some of these red states. And that's something that the Democratic leadership has to think through. What do you really do here in this hot summer? Do you take all the procedural means possible, or do you really make a case against the nominee and then, as you were saying, Stephanie, take it to the polls?
Both and. I still say both and. All of it. All of it. Because women's lives are on the line. This is very, very serious. And if he reverses Roe v. Wade,
which he said he won't do.
I don't believe that.
In the past, he said he would not.
Well, I don't think we have any reason to believe that.
He'll be pressed on that issue. For sure.
I agree with Robert.
Yes, he said it would go back to the state. He would follow.
Besides Roe, there's voter ID.
Yes.
You know, there are so many other
presidential
issues.
Investigations and indictments. Yeah.
You know, he supports voter ID. I mean, so there are a number. He says the Constitution supports semi-automatic weapons. Second Amendment. Even Scalia didn't say that. So
no, in fact, said quite the opposite.
He did. He said, you know, that there ought to be some automatic weapons with regulation. I'm glad you heard that too, because I think we don't know two people ever who heard that. So
he said there was not an unlimited right to.
There it is. That's the exact quote. Yeah. So two people have said it. I hope Robert would agree. Robert was there. So the point is, we are in very serious trouble, and we cannot play, especially when it comes to women. Now, when we talk about the base, more than half the electorate is women. That's the base. That's the base of Democratic voters. And at the end of the day, if women feel going to the midterms that their lives and their freedom of choice and that their agency as self-determining human beings is in jeopardy, we can still win. We can stop this.